All right. Thanks for joining me, both in person and online, for today's workshop, sustainability workshop on easy family crafts. And that's definitely what it is. It's easy. It's not too complicated. It's just intended for you and maybe a family member um, to spend time with each other. So I got two crafts up for you folks. One is how to make a paper or a gift bag out of paper, just any kind of sheet of paper. And then the other one is a little bit more involved. It's a little bit more time, but we're gonna make one of these here that you see on screen. And this is our paper rose. And these paper roses here, you can use for just about anything. One example for use of this is to make one and maybe attach it to a card. So you can have a 3D card. So if I were to have a sheet of paper, let's just pretend this is a mini card. You can glue it to the front and then write your message on the inside. So that's one possible use for this paper rose here. But we're going to start off first with a paper bag. And if you don't have the supplies for this readily, I promise you, it's so easy. It's like no brainer. I'm going to show you the two ways. So the first way is to get like any kind of paper. So here I have leftover paper from a baby shower, right? So sometimes you have like a little bit left over, and so not enough to wrap a box of some sort. So this is what you can do. So what you'll do is just cut your paper so that you have a sheet like this. You don't even have to measure, girl. You just cut what you think eyeball you need. So this is what I did. What's really great about this paper is that it has lines across of it. Some of the wrapping paper come with those lines. And let's pretend I'm going to borrow something here. Let's see. I am in the EC room. So of course they have a book on AEC. So Architect Studio Companion. I want to gift this to someone. It's a little bit big. Oh no, it's right. Okay. So I kind of eyeball the measurement, right? So I'm going to put this in a paper bag. Okay, so what you do is you fold, just like how you're wrapping something, you're going to fold the paper the way that you need it to be. Okay. And then usually when you're wrapping a box, you usually want that outside edge to be nice and clean, right? You don't want this rough edge here. This is where I usually tend to be a little crooked when I'm cutting. So I'm going to fold just a little bit here so that there's a lip. Okay. And then we eyeballed how wide we need the paper bag. So I'll go ahead and fold that in. We're going to do the rough cut first. Here we go. And then we have the clean edge, because this is going to be facing outside. Just like this. Just like so. And what we want to remember is that when you fold, you want the fold to be pretty crisp and clean. So you can either take your finger and go over to make that nice, crisp, clean fold there. Okay. So now what you have is something that looks like this. So you have a bottom side, and then you have another side like this. And this is where it's nice and clean. I'm going to cut my paper here just so that it could fit screen view for you folks. Okay. So here's what it looks like now. All right. Okay. And so we're going to create the top of the bag. So pick what side you want. You want this side, you want this side, doesn't matter. And once you've gotten once you got the paper folded like this,
You were frozen for a bit. Erica, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. I think this is like the sign. I need to do a clean recording of this. But anywho, okay, so just to kind of review, we cut out a piece of paper, any old paper that you have, right? And then we folded it so that it looks like this. One side will have a clean edge, so we fold it in. You can decide how much of an edge you want. I went like, it looks like half an inch. Okay, so that when we folded it together, you have one side, right, that is covered by the nice clean edge of the other side of the paper. Here we go. So now we're going to create the top of the gift bag. So that's going to mean that you're going to open up your sheet of paper here. You just pick what side you want, and you're going to fold in about 2 inches. So on this piece of paper is 2 squares. So you fold in. And again, you take your finger and you want to make sure that it's a nice crisp edge. This is the top of your paper bag. And I'm just going to put a T here for top so that we know what side is what. Okay. About 2 inches. Okay. And then you're going to then go back in and refold your sheet of paper so that it is like this. Okay. So again, this is your top. I don't know if you can see the T there. There we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna run over and give some tape to our guest here in-house. So hang on for just a bit. So that should give you time to catch up if you're still trying to figure out, okay, where am I? Okay. 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 So once you've gotten the top of your paper bag folded, and then you've refolded your sides, you're going to take a piece of tape, and then you're going to put it on one side of your bag. I'm going to just use one just so I can show you folks, but what you want to do is put pieces of tape strategically here, because this is going to be the seam of your bag. All right. All right, so once you put your tape down right there, see how sticky it is? You're going to fold down and flatten it out again. Okay. I'm just gonna. You most especially want to make sure the top side of your bag is like, it won't be able to do this. You want to just make sure that it's fully taped down there. All right. Okay, remember that object that we had, right? This is going to be too big, but okay, so this is the top of the bag, right? So we want to make sure that we don't end up making this bag too short. So you just want to put that object right on top of your bag here just to eyeball it again. So I'll probably end up right around here. So what we're going to do is fold up. I'm going to mark this paper here again so you know which is the top. So this is the top of the bag. And what we did was bring the other side here. Okay. Just to recap again, right? What we did was fold over your 2 sides. right?
After you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Now, if you've got a print on the paper that you're using, and there's definitely a right side up type of feel to that print, then you want to make sure that when you determine what is your top and what is your bottom, that it looks right to you. For example, if you had words written across here that says happy birthday, and it looks like this is the right side up, right? Then you want to make sure that the top of your bag is right side up as it looks to you in relation to the print that is on the paper. Okay. All right. So here we are. We've got the top side of the bag marked so that you can kind of see where that is. So now we're going to form the bottom of the bag, right? So all you're going to do is fold up. So this is maybe about 1, 2, 3, 3.5 inches up, right? And then again, you want crisp edges. So you want to take your finger and do that. Okay. This is what you're left with. All right. And then you're going to take the top side of the bag and turn it so that it is now closest to you. Okay. Right. And when you have that done, you're going to find the middle of your paper here as I'm showing you. And then you're going to lift it up. And then you're going to fold your paper so that now it forms kind of like a graduation hat. You know how that part that fits on your head? That's what it looks like. 2 triangles. That's what you want to end up with. Okay, and again, you want to make sure your edges are nice and crisp. There you go. Okay.
Don't worry about me. I'm totally inept. So
It's so simple.
it's really not.
I have a tester here in-house, and once you get the hang of it, it'll get a little bit better. It's all about crisp lines, to be honest with you, and making sure that those folds are really nice and crisp so that it will naturally fall into place. All right. So once you get here, what you're going to do is fold in just like that. Again, you want some crisp lines. So here I go, taking my finger.
Don't worry, anyone else that you will get this.
And then we're going to do the same to this top side here. We're going to fold down. There we go. Kind of looks like what you would find when you're wrapping up a gift box, right? It's the bottom and the top end of that box. Okay. Just to make it even neater, we're going to take one side of it and fold down like this so that this is what you get here. Just as you see here, this nice edge. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay. Right, nice clean edges again. And before we tape things down, what we're going to do is take this bottom flap here and bring it up away from you so that you can kind of make sure that your edges are nice and smooth. Okay. All right. Once you've got that down there, I'm going to run over and grab a piece of tape.
Because I'm probably not gonna.
No problem.
You're gonna have to show.
Yep, no worries. If you ever want to recap or refresh, I'm in building 5, first floor in counseling. You can always drop in and we can show you then. So you take your piece of tape. I don't know if you can see this. There it is, a top left corner. And you're going to just lay it down there right here. And then you're going to just tape it down. Okay. All right, when you get up to this point, all that is left for you to do is to open up your paper bag. I'm gonna cut mine's a bit short here so I could show you folks. I mean, making this paper bag is so forgiving, but what you do is you just open it up. Just like that. You might need to fold down that side, but here's the inside. Here's the outside. Yeah, there you go. And then to close it, you can either, let me put something in here. Let's see, put a remote control in here. You can kind of like put in your, I don't know, tissue paper, and then to fold it, see your crisp side, just come in and then you fold it in. I mean, you could do some fancy stuff here. You can either fold that end down and then punch a hole if you have a hole puncher, and you can then tie it closed with a ribbon if you want. Or you could finish the edges a little bit better by doing that one more fold and then doing this. It's like a little bag here. You can put a ribbon right here. Whatever you want to do and make it even more decorative. So that is one way to make this paper bag. Yay! There you go. Great job, Talehua. Woohoo! Now, this is just one way to make that gift bag. Okay, there's another way, I promise, even simpler. Really, kid you not. You're gonna need a pair of scissors, tape, and then whatever bowl. And then you're gonna need a box, an empty box. I've got one right here. See this? All right, so the way you do this is you take your paper and see, look, let me use the extra paper. Oh, I'm good. This is the beauty of having two different ways. So normally you would wrap this box up, right? But to make a gift bag by using your empty paper box, you don't really need to wrap up this box fully, because to make the paper bag, you're just gonna make like you're gonna wrap this box up like a gift, right? So you size it up and down depending on what you need. Let me see if there's something smaller here I could use. This is so great about let's see what, oh, I'm gonna borrow this thing. Okay, here's my little box. Just make pretend. Okay, so I want to wrap it up. I want it to turn into a gift bag. Okay, so that's about how much you're gonna make sure you have enough room to fold down, right, for that top of the paper bag. So then I'm gonna measure it using, say, like this much. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that to the side. So I'm gonna grab my paper and I'm gonna cut across, just like how you see me doing on screen. Okay. And then I'm gonna make sure I have a lip for my bag. So I'm gonna put my item here just to kind of make sure I have enough. Okay. So maybe I want to do it maybe about that, because I want just a little bit showing. So just like, I'm just going to do this. So it's kind of like wrapping your box, right? So here it is. You do this. It's even better if you do it this way, because then there's like, you don't need to think too much, right? I cut right about here. I better make sure there's no wires to cut here. That would just totally be messed up, right? then AEC will never let me use their room. Okay. So just like how you are wrapping up a gift, there's no right or wrong way in terms of how to do this, right? You just want to tape there. Okay, that's a little bit too much for me. So I'm gonna maybe cut off a little bit more. This is my top. And then here's my bottom. Do that. So I'm going to take another piece of tape again. Right. And then I'm going to slide the box that I used or the item that I used to create my paper bag. Just got to be very gentle. Of course, it's not coming out. I know I'm going to rip it, but I'll fix it in just a bit. Okay, so I slid it out. Where is that? Okay, so that's a side that I sort of had ripped, but that's okay. It's all right because what I'm going to put into it is a little smaller, right? So I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to put in this pen I'm gifting to someone. Put my item in. And just as you did the other one, I am going to fold down the edge here. One more time. And perhaps I'm going to just tape it down, or I'm going to punch up a hole and put a ribbon there to tie. So that's like the fast way of making a paper bag using a box of some sort. All right. Super easy, right? So if you're in a bind, this is a really good thing to do. When you gotta wrap something up and you're like, oh, I don't have time to go to Long's or Walmart or Target. You can do this with leftover paper, right? So that is a way to support sustainability and to make things beautiful in terms of gifting something to someone. Okay, all right. So we're gonna, any questions from out in Zoom land or here? You guys are good? Okay, all right. So we're gonna move on. Let me put these things back here so that I don't forget where they're coming from, but let's move on to the paper rose arts and crafts. And I'm gonna kind of clear my way here so that those in person with me can see what I'm doing. Here, for those of you in Zoom land, what you're gonna need to get ready is a pair of scissors. The way to do this originally calls for glue, but if you use glue, it's going to take a little longer to set up. So actually have double-sided sticky tape. I found that was so much better. So if you have this is actually a little bit better, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just kind of cutting me pieces here. And you're gonna need probably a roll of tape because it's going to, your paper rose is going to have a lot of petals to make it what looks like this here on screen. This is what your finished product will be. Okay. I am going to pass this along to my in-house participant. So hang on.
How many should I do?
Okay. So to get started, well, total, this rose that you see here takes about, this was about 40 petals. To make it even fuller, ideally you should have between 50 to 60 petals.
Do you need that much tape?
You don't, for the each petals, that's a great question. You don't need, I don't know if you can see this right here. You don't need a long piece of tape, maybe half of that. You need the tape to secure your petals to each other as you work yourself around. Yeah. So you don't need a long piece of tape. It's just enough to kind of secure your petal to the other petal that it's going to go on. Okay. So while you folks are getting your tape ready there, we're gonna go on to what else you need. So you also need a paper cup, not a big one, a pretty small one, it's fine. And then you also need paper. So it could be anything really. I mean, let's think along the lines of sustainability. I mean, it could be leftover wrapping that you might have had that you like the print of. It could be construction paper that you might have lying around. Could be a magazine. You determine how you want your paper rolls to look like. So ultimately, how your paper rolls will look like is determined by what color of paper you use. If there's any print or pattern on it, that could make it really nice. And so what we're gonna do, so for those of you that are in-house, I've already prepped this for you, so you don't have to worry. But for those of you that are out in Zoomland and you're wondering like, okay, so how big of a paper do I need? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna need, let's see, I should be tested, right? Okay, where's that? Here it is. So you need a square piece of paper that's 5 by 5. And I'm not one to measure. I just go and I look, okay, does this look like it's 5 by 5? Yeah, it kind of is. And so you want, okay, let me see. Yeah, that's about that. So you want a 5 by 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters square. Let me get one that's printed so you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay. Once you have that 5 by 5 centimeter square, you're going to fold it in half. See, look, you can tell I eyeballed it because it's supposed to be a square. Mine's a little bit more, but no worries. Just trim off that extra piece. Okay. So you're going to fold it in half so that it's a triangle. Okay. Okay. I'm going to draw on mine just so you see the shape of what I'm going to cut next. Okay. So this is your triangle. The long side is to you. Okay. And so we're going to go directly across. And again, I'm drawing this out so that you can see what I'm going to cut out. You don't need to do this part. But I'm going to cut a curve just like that. Okay, so there's my curve. Take your scissors and then you're going to trim. So I'm going to trim that curve there so that you end up with something that looks like this here. Still a triangle with a curve at the top, kind of like Mauna Loa. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. And when you open it up, kind of looks like, I don't know, not quite a teardrop, right? There's a point at the end, but this is what it's going to look like here. Okay. So for each of your petals, I found that it is best if you take each of your petals and you just fold them in half. They should be folded in half anyway, because that's how you created that lip there. And for this first pass here, what I want you to do is to have at least 10 of these ready to go. So let's go ahead and do that now. So you want 10 of these petals here folded. So we'll go ahead and do that. And that fold is going to be important for you to have because that fold will then allow you to place it on the cup a lot easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have enough there? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Does it matter like what color is on the side?
It don't matter what color. if you want your rows to have a particular look. If you want so here, let me show you. So the pattern I have where I'm using is this piece of paper that has looks like a floral or flowers blossoming. If you want this to show, then when you place it on your cup, you'll need to strategically put that. I'll show you in a bit. It'll make much better sense. But for right now, go ahead and get 10 of these already folded up. Okay. And again, this takes about, this size rose here takes about 50 to 60 petals. So you would have 5 groups of 10 if you wanted to kind of prep everything first and then work on putting the paper rose together after. That would work too. Okay. All right. So while you guys get that ready, I'm going to go ahead and get my craft area clean. It's so funny because when you're in a cooking show or you're cooking, typically you're the chef, right? You want to make sure that your workspace is nice and clean and everything's set and ready to go. Same thing here. All right. For those of you who have already folded your first 10 petals, what we're going to do is take your paper cup. Okay, here's mine here. And again, it doesn't need to be a big cup. It just needs to be a small one like this. And I want you to eyeball. I'm going to draw on this one just to kind of show you visually so it shows up in camera. But figure out what's half of that cup. Here's my half. Okay, and then you're going to take your scissors and cut off the rest. Okay, so I found where my cup, half of my cup is. And I'm just going to take scissors and I'm going to just cut in. Doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to know that this is about the size you need. There you go. My cup looked like this earlier, and I found the midpoint from the top to the bottom or bottom to the top. Made my mark and I cut away. So now I have this here. That's half the size. Okay. All right. So the next thing you're going to do on this one, if you're going to work with small children, you probably want to do this part of it, or at least get it started. What you're going to do is turn the cup over so that the bottom is facing you. Then you take your scissors and you're going to punch a hole through it.
Like right in the middle?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're going to get rid of this entire bottom.
Oh, okay.
So once you got that hole, yep, you could then just gotta be tiny bit careful because you're punching a hole through, but you can do this by hand now. And what you want to do is carefully peel out that bottom of the cup. And then if it, is easier, it doesn't go, then you want to just take your scissors and just like how you use it to cut the cup so that you have half the size of that cup, you're going to do the same and just go. It doesn't matter if it looks ugly. This is going to end up being the form that you use. It will not be part of the rose. It's just the form. Okay. So now what you have is a cup that looks like this. There's no bottom to it because we've cut that out. Okay. All right. So you want to make sure what was once the bottom is facing up, not like this, but like this. Okay. How you guys doing in Zoom land? You guys okay? All right. Okay. So this is where you want to get ready with your pieces of tape. Okay. I'm just gonna prep a little bit more. And again, you don't need a whole lot of tape. You just need enough so that it will secure the petals to each other. Okay. All right, so for the first round of petals, you're going to have these petals folded in half like this. Okay. As you work your way up, and this is where that halfway fold, that fold becomes important. I'm gonna draw on mine's here so you can see out there. Here's my fold, right? As you place the petal, what you're going to do is then, this is for layers, I'd say about 2.5, maybe 3. You're gonna then start to fold it so that it's a little bit more than halfway, but we'll worry about that in just a bit, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna refold that. And then I think by now you guys there in Zoom land have your paper cup all prepped and ready to go. Okay, so you're gonna take a petal. Okay, I'm gonna just, you keep your cup this way. And in a bit, depending on where your comfort is, you can position it so that it's easier for you. Take that petal you folded, and then you're gonna just slip it right onto that lip there. Okay, and you just kind of like mold it to your cup, right? Now, you're gonna take your piece of tape, and then you're gonna put it, so here, I'm gonna draw on this so you can see. Here's the middle of that petal. You're just gonna put it so that it's close to the middle, just like that, okay? And then you, with the other hand, that's you're gonna hold onto the hand, the petal that doesn't have, the side that doesn't have the tape. You're gonna take your other petal and place it right over that piece of tape so that it's like this. Okay. There's a really great question about, well, what if you have a piece of paper you're using and one side is plain like this and one side's printed, right? Okay. For those of you who have that kind of paper, what you're going to end up doing for the print side, it's actually going to be, you're going to lay it down like this.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you finish your flower, that's what's showing.
Okay.
With the outside being that non-printed. So this is where you be a little strategic in terms of how you place. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to take my tape here. Let's start with that. Okay. And again, you don't need a whole lot of tape. So on the midway of that petal, right? And then I put the tape right there. Okay. And then I took my next petal. Now I want the color to show. So I'm gonna make sure that the color is on the inside. And then I'm gonna place my petal. So this is what you do. This is what you'll be doing over and over again. So that take another piece of tape, put it here. And then place it here. And you keep on going until you get to, you use up all your 10 petals and it's around the rim of the cup. So I'm going to quickly do that here so you can see what it looks like. Like I said earlier, this part is a little time consuming because you're going to have to place these petals individually around the cup. Okay, so I take my tape, put it here, about midway, take my petal, and then I'm going to put it here. So terrible, it's white on white. Sometimes it might pop off like this. That's okay, just pop it back on. No problem. Okay. Take another piece of tape. find the middle of the petal that's down already. Slide the next one in. Oops. Okay. Just like the paper bag, you go ahead and make sure the fold is, you press down so that it stays, helps with it staying. Take another piece of tape. Come back. Two, okay, and then I'm gonna pretend this is my 10th one. Here we go. Again, last piece. Let me pretend that's my 10th one. And so this is what it looks like. Okay. So we start the process again. You take the next 10 petals, right? Because again, it takes about 50 to 60 of these petals to make a rose like this. So we'll go ahead and take the next 10 petals. And you're going to just do the same thing. 5 layers, 5 rows, whatever you want to call it. If you're going to use 60, then it's 6. So we're going to do it again. So this is good to do when you're watching your favorite show. If you want to just do it for someone, if you're with a child, you can make a game of it and have them count. How many petals do we need for each row? 10. Count out 10 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For little children, what this activity is good for is for you helping to develop their fine motor skills, because they have to take this itty bitty piece of paper and fold it in half and then make sure that crease is there. So that's where the family part of this comes in, right? And it's something that you can do with a small child to help them develop so that they get ready for preschool maybe. And one thing I've learned is that that's fine motor skills also helps with the development of language too as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I need 2 more. I just gonna pretend I have 10. So here's the next set of 10. So what do you do next? Same thing again. And you know what? There's not even, you just pick where you want to start. So I'm gonna pick right here. Okay. Put my tape down. There's my tape. Okay. I'm gonna take my petal. Now, when you do the second layer, you see these gaps. Yeah, I'm gonna draw mine out here so you can see. Here is that gap, right? You want to put your next petal so that we're still this half fold, right? So that it is the point or the round part of your petal is going to be where that point or that gap is. Imagine looking at a petal or a rose. I'm gonna draw on mine so you can see. But let's see, here is the gap. Here is the start, the point of the petal. Is that, you guys see what I'm trying to say here? Okay, good. Because that's what's going to give that beautiful curve to your rose. Okay, so here I go. I put that down there. And again, you just keep going. So another piece of tape. Oops. Where's my halfway mark is here. And I'm going to then place it there. Okay. And I'm going to go all the way around. Okay, I'm going to do this really fast so I can begin to show you what that third layer is going to look like. Because that third layer then, this is where the change up occurs. And that change up is going to be where your paper is no longer folded in half, but it's going to be you're going to now have something that looks like this. Instead of this, it's gonna look like this. Okay, so let me quickly get this. Save that. Going. Okay. This is not something where it needs to be perfect. The beauty comes in you. It doesn't need to be uniform. It could be a little rough. Because if you notice the flowers, the petals aren't all the same, right? They come in varying sizes. Some have some unique aspects to it where they have a little nick on one side, or they're not quite, symmetrical, but that's the beauty of it. Okay, so I'm gonna put on one more petal. Now, the sign that you're doing this right is when we first started, if you took a look at your cup, right, you definitely could tell there was an opening, right? But as you build on your layers, this middle part here begins to close up. And that's how you know you are headed in the right direction. Okay. Okay, make pretend that I did all 10 there. And so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure your petal, the fold for your petal now looks like this, where it's not in half. It's asymmetrical, where there is definitely a smaller side to your fold and then a bigger side. Okay. All right. So how to place this then onto your cup here, okay? So you're going to make sure that the smaller side is on the outside. So here you see my cup. And then I'm gonna place my petal this way. So the smaller side of the fold goes on the out with the longer, with the longer being in. Okay. This, when you start adding these rows here, this is where you're going to notice that the puka or the hole begins to close even further because the inside starts to become longer, where the outside becomes shorter. And that's what you're going to see here on the finished product. Okay. So I'm going to just quickly put on maybe like 3 here. I know we are running out of time, but I just wanted to show you. I'm going to take this off here. This back in. Okay. So when you got all your petals on, this is what you're going to see. You don't see the hole anymore. I mean, you could if you just kind of pressed in there, right? But you don't. It's closed up, right? Because the longer side where that fold was is on the inside versus the out. Okay. So once you've got all your petals in and they're nice and secure, all you need to do is flip the cup over. So it looks like this. Here's the cup. Okay. And then you're gonna gently pull the cup away from your rose. So let me repeat that. This is what it looks like once you've got all your petals in. Right? So you can't see the bottom. You can't see through the hole. There's no hole anymore. There's no opening. Oh, there might be a little. This is what you're left with. So you're gonna flip that cup over so that you see this here. All right. And you're going to gently hold on the outside of the cup here. And you're going to gently pull away the paper cup so that what you're left with is this here. Okay. This is your paper rose.
Yes.
And then Where the paints come into play is if you want to paint this here, your cup, you could paint it. And then you're gonna take, you could take tape or you could take glue. Just put some tape here so you can kind of see. But you're just gonna take your rose and secure it to that cup. There you go. Or like I said earlier, you could take a piece of paper, and you could create a 3D card out of this. And you could secure the rose right onto that card. I would write something in it before you do that so you don't end up like what I'm doing here. And then you could use this as maybe a gift bag tag. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Where's my gift bag? Here's my gift bag. And I could maybe, I don't know, flip it like that. Oh, look how pretty that is. Right? So that could be your embellishment. Let's pretend I have this poster and your child says, Mom, my child, she waits till the last minute. Mom, I need something. I need a poster. I'm running for student government. This could be maybe strategically placed here on the poster, right? You could do the words. Could be a focal point to bring attention to. Maybe you could have 3 of these strategically placed on a gift box, maybe perhaps with some ribbon. That's another use for these. But there you go. Paper roses and gift bags. Any questions? Super simple. Does take a little bit of time for the paper rose. But what you'll come away with is something as beautiful as this here. All right. All right, so that it takes us up to 4 minutes to 1. I am hoping that you're able to recreate this on your own. And then it's recorded, so we'll get that this link up on the Ho'olaulea site for you. And then you can go back and replay and revisit the how-to in terms of making a gift bag using paper that you have around in your home, and then a paper rose with a cup and with items that maybe or paper you have around in your home, like magazine or construction paper or whatever have you. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you out in Zoomland for joining us on this first day of Ho'olaulea 2023, with the focus being on sustainability. And then thanks to my in-person crowd here. Thank you for joining me in person. Yay!
Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome. And we will see you later. Don't forget to check out
you,
the
Erica.
Ho'olaulea page. A lot of good stuff there in the weeks coming.
Erica, I wrote in the chat, you know, that way of putting the paper on the side of the cup, you can, you know, when you make a charcuterie board, you could do that with salami and make a salami rose.
Yes. That is another great point. So instead of I guess you could use a paper cup, but you could use like I've
Wine
seen it
glass.
glass cups, but definitely you can make your charcuterie boards beautiful with salami roses. Thanks for that tip, Kalehua.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And with that, I'm going to bid you guys a great rest of your day. There is another session at 2. I believe it's down at Building 5, the Halau, and you'll be weaving with our Wayfinders Club. So
There's also one at 1.
oh,
with,
there's also
Brenda Costin. It's virtual.
there's another virtual session at 1 too. If you're interested with Miss Brenda Costin, you'll find that link on the Ho'olaulea page. All right, folks, have a great rest of your work week. I'll see you around.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.